Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. Have you ever wondered why it is you have this pain in your joints, but you have this other weird pain that feels like burning, stabbing, shooting pain? And I'm here to talk about the pain of arthritis versus nerve pain, which is a common problem that we, as we get older, have to deal with. So please think about subscribing. This is MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about everything that is challenging to think about as we get older so that we can take action today, so that we can stay healthy well into our 80s and 90s. That is my goal. So today I want to talk about arthritis pain versus nerve pain. Arthritis pain is really like thinking of how you have a house and you have joints and you have frames and you have things that hold the house and make the house shape. And it's really, well structured. Yet, if it gets cold or if there's too much heat or if it gets worn down, that is sort of what's happening when you have arthritis in your joints. Like for me, I have arthritis in my hands. I have these arthritis things that happen in my joints where it's just swelling and kind of the joints a little misfigured. But the key is that it's not hurting that much. Do they feel stiff? Yes. Do I need to exercise them and move them? Yes. So the key is that joint pain is a part of the challenge of getting older. There's wear and tear. There's the challenge of, maybe there's inflammation in our bodies because of our nutrition, or we don't move enough during the day. And so we're not allowing our body's natural processes of clearing out toxins from our joints to work for ourselves. So we really have to think about arthritis as something when it comes to joint pain that we can kind of help ourselves with. There's topicals that can help, heat and cold, saunas, hot baths, cold ice baths. There's also patches you can try and ointments. There's over the counter, all kinds of NSAIDs. Now, I'm not a doctor. I am a researcher. I've been doing research in the past 25 years, and almost all the research I've done is in neuropathic pain or nerve pain. And I think where it's so complicated and why it seems to feel a little bit like your pain is crazy is because, arthritis pain is sort of like it aches and it feels stiff and kind of like, it's sore. There's a sore kind of a muscular joint feeling to arthritis. Nerve pain, on the other hand, is strange. Some people think it feels like electrical shock. Sometimes it's a tingling, a burning. It can feel what's a very strange thing is you can put something soft on your skin and it feels painful. And that's because of something called allodynia. It's when the nerve fibers in your skin are really just not communicating correctly to the brain. And that's why so often with nerve pain, you really have a challenging time of understanding what is happening and why it's causing it. Sometimes what does happen is that you have problems with your joints, especially the back, and the nerves get trapped or they get, somehow the narrowing of the discs, they get impinged. And that's where you have a nerve pain that's because of what's happening with your joints. So the key is that doing daily exercises that are about stretching, it's about moving, it's about just allowing ourselves to open our body frame up so that we can get the joints and the fluids and the body's natural systems of blood and lymph fluids moving so that we can help our body rid itself of any type of toxins in the body. So you really need to figure out, is this a nerve pain or is this some kind of a deep muscular skeletal pain? Or is it some kind of a combination like with an impinged nerve? And the only way to really work through this is to go and see your neurologist. The neurologist really can help you understand the pain you're having. And typically, if it is a nerve pain, there are ways to help you. And I think the most common nerve pains are neuropathic pain. And especially as we get older, the key pain that is called idiopathic nerve pain is the fact that we don't really truly understand why nerve pain starts to happen for an unusual reason as we get older. We start to suffer with numbness, tingling, burning sensations in either our feet or our hands. And it's because we don't understand why the nerves are miscommunicating to the brain as we get older. There's also diabetic neuropathy. I know that many people, because of the levels of sugar, it's very toxic to the nerves in our feet and our hands. And that's what causes the nerve damage because of the abundance or the burden of having so much sugar and glucose in our system that it can damage those nerves. The other type of nerve pain is chemo induced nerve pain or neuropathic pain. And that's where you've got, you've had some kind of a toxin like a chemotherapy due to cancer, and your nerves were somehow, damaged because of the chemo. But sometimes that can return, but it's unclear as to whether they can repair or not. But it definitely is a response to having chemotherapy. You can have chemo-induced neuropathy. So the key is if you're having pain, don't just suffer in silence. See your doctor. Get a referral to the neurologist. Have the neurologist work with you to figure out what kind of pain this is. Is it structural or is it nerve pain due to some kind of underlying condition like diabetes? We really need to help ourselves because nobody wants to live with pain. That's the key. We want to be pain free. But no matter what, as we get older, our framework changes. Our bones and our support system gets older because we don't have the nutrients and we don't have the types of repair that we did when we had younger. But we can help ourselves by being physically active, keeping ourselves nourished with healthy whole foods. And if you do have some kind of skeletal pain, making sure that it's not something that's somehow impinging or squeezing the nerve that's in those areas as well. I know the last episode I've talked about hip pain and I have some shoulder pain and I have some knee pain. And some of that's due to the wear and tear of over, 67 years. I'm 67 now. And so we really have to do everything we can, stretching, doing things to strengthen the muscles in our legs, in our arms, in our shoulders, shoulder rolls, anything that's going to help us open our joints, get the blood flowing in so that we can help our body and rid itself of toxins and have efficient repair. Now, granted, we do as we get older, it's very hard to repair the things that we're wearing out a little bit. So that is something to think about. They do have amazing surgeries. Like I had an amazing surgery in my right foot for a joint around the big toe where they did put some cadaver cartilage there. And I haven't had any trouble with it since. They took care of that pain so well. And I'm very hopeful about the types of pain remedies they're going to have in the future. Because ultimately, we all want to live a long and very physically and mentally active life in the best version of who we are. So please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week. And we share everything that we can to help you and myself be as mentally and physically capable well into our 80s and 90s. So be well, my friends. You have this one precious life. Let's live it intentionally, okay? I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.